I like to sometimes think of a bike as a metaphor for movement and adaptation. My father was an amateur bike racer when he was a kid, grew up in Berlin, Germany, born in 1940. He lived there until he was about 14 and until the Nazi party took over, and his father was in a prisoner of war camp for a number of years. He moved to Canada and immigrated to the U.S. when he was 16 years old. He met my mother in New Jersey. He moved to Long Island, and the two of them went to college at Rutgers University, and Douglass was the women's college at the time. My mother was Jewish, my dad is not, and so I like to think of myself as a mixed race child. My parents got married in 1963, and soon thereafter, my father went to Vietnam, and we lived in the Panama Canal Zone, where I was born in 1965. We moved around a lot. My dad stayed in the military. We went to Michigan, Kansas City, ended up in D.C. when my dad worked for the Pentagon, and my mother continued her education, getting a master's degree in English and teaching English. My brother and sister were born in D.C. In 1970. They are twins, fraternal twins, and we continued to move a lot. But little known fact, while my father worked at the Pentagon, he also was a speechwriter for Nixon and worked with a lot of the people who you may know from that time period. We continued to move quite a bit, ultimately landing in New Jersey. Most of my growing up time was in New Jersey, but in lots of different houses and different towns, so I ended up going to a lot of different schools and always having to be the kid that would look for someone to sit with in the lunchroom. My parents divorced when I was 11, and I graduated high school early at 16 in 1982. I was thrilled to not only get out of the house, but to go to college, and I was happy to be in college at 16 years old. I have always been sustained by reading and art, and double majored in English and art in college. After graduating from college, of course, like the rest of you, I went on to law school. I have always been an athlete and continued to play both soccer and to run in law school. I wasn't sure what to do after college. I graduating with a double major in English and art. I wasn't sure whether to be a teacher or an artist, but I had planned to go to law school when I first went to college, and spent most of my time shopping at thrift shops while in college. And after taking off for a year, I decided that law school was really where I wanted to be. I wasn't interested in being a starving artist, as some of this art shows. I graduated law school in 1991, and unfortunately, although I had big dreams of taking a break after law school, 1991, as many of you know, is kind of like now, was a huge law school recession. No one was hiring. I ended up finding a job with a commercial litigation firm in Tampa right after law school, and my dreams of taking a break didn't materialize. I ended up doing wills and sitting at big tables, doing bond transactions, lots of commercial litigation. As many of you know, after the big bond deals, people would go to strip clubs, and Tampa was kind of known for that. I remember probably one of the worst depositions I ever took, where I was doing collection work and asking how much this guy's wife's ring was worth. I ended up later in 1996 discovering the Alley and Alley source book and discovering employment law. I remember vividly going to the Alley and Alley offices, which were pretty much a warehouse with a junkyard dog barking on the outside. The inside of the offices were loaded with stuffed animal heads. It was what might now be called kindly as a sweatshop. John Edward Alley and Bob Hall kind of expected 5,000 hours as a minimum and would make the joke that you were going home early if you left at 8 o'clock at night. Tampa was the first merger for Ford and Harrison in 1996, and as you now know, we've gone on to have offices in almost every large metropolitan area in Florida. We have a very diverse office in Tampa, and I'm proud of that. Meanwhile, I do have a personal life. I was made a partner by Ford and Harrison back in 2000 when I was pregnant and on maternity leave, and I'm very proud of that fact and proud of the firm for doing that. I have a 13-year-old son and a 24-year-old stepson. I got married when my stepson was 7 to my husband Tim, who went to Embry-Riddle and is a pilot and ran airports, and now for the last 17 years he has run a business where he makes airport products and services. Meanwhile, my parents have been married separately 3 times and 4 times respectively. Adapt, grow, and learn has been my creed. As you can see, I've had a peripatetic life in some ways, although traditional in others, but I'm a huge believer in learning to grow and adapt and change. And this theme of innovation this year, I think, is a wonderful one and something that I support tremendously. I am very proud to be the regional managing partner of the Florida offices, the best offices at Ford and Harrison.